Thank you for joining us today at Levittown Public Library's Posture Alignment class with Kimberly. Today is December 12th, 2022. Go ahead, Kim.
Thank you again, Hitomi. Good to see you as usual. Guys, Hitomi's listening, so if anybody has any questions, if you're new, you could type in the chat. That helps. Otherwise, everybody's muted, so I can't hear you. This is the second to last class. So if there's anything that anybody wants to see, wants to do, please let me know. Now I'm going to address the live class that's out there. Guys, everybody good out there? All right. You guys know that if something doesn't work out for you today, and if something doesn't feel right, stop the movement or stop the move, whatever I give you. You can always make an adjustment for yourselves if it's not working. I can give you as many modifications as I can, but I don't live in your body. So if something hurts, don't do it. Don't push it. It's not the point of these exercises. Everybody is jumping into static back without me even saying anything. So I guess that's what you guys want. If that's what you want, go for it. Remember, for the past couple of weeks, I've given you that alternative, that modified floor block that we've been doing, where you lay face down on the floor, legs straight out behind you. So if I were to be laying on the floor and you're looking through the first floor through at me, pretend I'm laying on the floor, you're going to pigeon toe your toes, and you can lay on the floor with your chest down, bring your arms to a position like so. You want to try, if you're doing this modified floor block at home, you want to try to keep your face right into the floor, which is difficult to do unless you've got like a paper towel roll or something underneath your forehead to lift your nose off of the floor. You'll suffocate yourself, especially if you got that shag carpet. I've seen some of you guys, 70s shag carpet. You're laughing, you get it. So you don't want to suffocate in your carpet or smush your nose into the floor. So that's an alternative to a static back, especially for some of you who've got the posture that kind of looks like this, with the pelvis tucked under, posterior tilt, shoulders rounded forward. If you're laying on the floor, face down, and your arms in this position, that's really an alternative. It's going to take your body into more extension. And usually we take that position for 6 to 10 minutes. Otherwise, everybody might be taking the static back position. Good old favorite, where you're trapping your body at a 90-degree angle, hips and knees, and just laying on the floor. This is a good old favorite. Easy to do. And if you can't do it on the floor, maybe you'll be doing this sitting in a chair. Just walk your tailbone all the way to the back, nice square chair. Put your feet flat on the floor. Try to get the chair to hold you in this 90-degree angle. So we're holding this for at least, let's do 6 minutes today. I'm catching one of you who also remembered the move that we did the other week called reverse skydiver. And she's actually taking her arms to this position. She's taking the modified floor block position, but she's taking her fists nice and flat into the floor. And she's letting her elbows come up to the sky. And this is an alternative if you don't have pillows to put underneath your arms or blocks to put underneath your arms to lift the arms. Also, if any of that hurts your shoulders, remember when I came out of surgery after doing that dopey thing to my shoulder, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do modified floor block. This was me on the floor for like 2 minutes, and then my arm was screaming and I had to take it out. But after a while, I could get this. And then after a while, I could lift the arm up. And after a while, I could prop it up on the blocks. So it took a while, but you don't want to force the body. You have to listen to it. So if the body's going, you have to stop. There's a reason why I used that term. You guys understand that? Yeah. And Gloria's going, yeah. Anybody notice when you get into a position where it's really intense and you feel the body responding, it kind of does this, it starts to tighten up and pull and seize. How is that helping when we're trying to unwind the body using these moves to get it to remember a new pattern? If it's seizing up and reacting against what you're doing, it's not working. So dial it back or do another move. doesn't go for it when we're doing push-ups or squats and stuff. The body can do that all at once because that's the workout point. But when we're talking this kind of therapy, what we're doing, you must pay attention to the body. So we got a few more minutes here, everybody. We do not want to make the body react in a way that's contraindicative to our exercises. And that's different for everybody. I was browsing through all of the exercises I've had in this book over the years, and I found one that we haven't touched in a while, and I like how it looks. You're probably not going to like how it feels. It's work, and you deserve it because we got 2 more classes together, including this one, I believe, and we haven't done inchworm. We haven't done one-arm switch, which is so much fun. It won't be able to be done by everybody. I'll give you a modification. You could try all your best. One-arm switch is awesome. It's going to get you all confused and so good. And we'll do lateral bear crawl in it as well. It's a short one. But it will get your heart rate up. And I know it's pretty warm in here, so go home and change your clothes. That's okay. About 2 more minutes, everybody. Anyone given any thought or attempted doing any cold water immersion, whether putting your feet in the cold water, your hands in the cold water, or your whole body in the cold water? No, huh? Did somebody, is that Terry? Yes, why would, because that's what I do in the winter. I do winter swimming. We do the Wim Hof breathing technique. And sometimes I'm doing it alone. I was doing it alone for a while. In an indoor pool, indoor heated pool. I see. I didn't find a group, but I found a gentleman who enjoys the breathing, and his tough part is doing the cold water swimming. Now I'm the opposite. I like the cold water swimming, but I don't always do the breathing. So we kind of, yeah, we encourage each other. And he encourages me to jog because he's a runner. So he's like, let's do 1 lap, and then we'll do an extra lap every time we meet. So that encourages me. But we don't meet often. We try to do it once a week, but I have a little bit of work this week and the week before and the week before, and that runs out in a few more weeks. So I'm taking all the work I can get. So that takes a little precedence. 1 more minute, everybody. So today we're going to be using a strap, and we're going to be using a block. Strap, as you guys know, is just a belt at home. Do not use those PT straps. They're useless for what we're doing. You want to use an actual belt, leather belt, cotton belt. I don't care what it is, but it has to create 100% resistance. Don't want any give in there. If you're using pillows at home, taking a pillow off of your bed, something like that, you want to fold it in half because we want to have as close to 100% resistance as we can on your block or your pillow. You want a lot of resistance on these things. We're going to do some oldies and goodies: upper spinal floor twist, hip crossover stretch, hip lift. That's a toughie. Some other rotational exercises for the femurs. I'd like to do some kneeling stuff, so if you guys please remind me. And then we'll hit that workout that I got in that awful, awful book there. Okay. I'm going to take you out of static back or modified face block, floor block, whatever the heck it's called. I'm going to do some rotational stuff. I've got some ideas for upper spinal floor twist, hip crossover stretch, hip lift. What would you guys like to do first and why? Femur rotations too. What would you like to do? Hip crossover, upper spinal floor twist, or femur rotations? Femur rotations. Okay, so we're going to do, let's do them via knee drops. Via knee drops. So we're going to stay into hook lying position, and you're going to bend both of your knees. You can do this sitting in a chair. It's just not as easy. So you can either sit up in your chair and try to get your feet like this. We're just going to windshield wiper the knees back and forth. But as you lay down in the hook lying position, you're going to keep your feet. Let's go a little bit wider than hip distance. So I put my knees and feet together, walk them out, heel toe, heel toe. I do it twice. I'm going to drop back and forth. Try to keep your feet positioned parallel to each other. As you go back and forth, you're going to notice your feet want to evert. So they want to do this Y shape. Don't let them. And if I catch your feet doing that and you're not correcting it, I will throw something at you. I will. You've been doing this long enough to know. Is there a mirror? You can sit up and look at your feet and just take a look and go, okay, let me pause. Oh, darn, look, my feet had turned out. That's the way to save yourself from a chair coming in your direction. I'm hardcore these days. Back and forth. Really good, Denise. That looks great.
Good stretch on your hips.
It is. It is. Very nice. It is. I'm not catching anybody doing it too fast. I'm also not catching anybody doing it too slow. The wider your feet go, the more internal rotation you get from your hip. So if somebody out there cannot do internal rotation with their hip or it hurts, then just bring your feet closer to each other. You might notice as you start getting pain, your feet are going to go closer to each other anyway without you thinking about it. Your body knows what to do. It knows what to do. You squish your foot, like happened to me yesterday. Got some furniture dropped right on my foot. You'll start to limp. It happens. You step on the foot, your body goes, ow, 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 and you limp. And before you know it, you don't even have to think about it anymore. Within a week to 2 weeks, that limp is now memorized in your body. And there's a new pattern that goes on, even if your foot doesn't hurt anymore. It doesn't take that long, but that's what happens, which is why trying to give your body the reset daily is a good idea. Because as your body adapts to, ooh, pain, let's shift this, shift it to your knee, shift it to your hip, shift it somewhere else. Your body is now changing and adapting, and it will memorize that pattern from now on, even though the other parts have healed. That's why we have to keep interrupting that. Lovely, everybody. Let's go for a hip crossover stretch. Now that we kind of warmed up with the knee drops back and forth, hip crossover stretch. So we're laying in the hook line position again. Put your feet hip distance this time, feet parallel. Let's cross the right ankle to the left knee. Do not slide your foot on the floor. Your feet should start out hip distance and they should stay hip distance. Twisting through your lower back. Going to let the legs fall to the left. Do not let them slide. Keep them where you put them. If they can make it all the way to the floor, great. Go palms down if you can. Arms are out to a T. Look in the opposite direction of your twist. Hold for 1 minute. What do we do with that top leg? It should be your right leg if you followed my instruction. Right knee is pointing to the sky. Right. What's happening in your hip as your right knee is pointing to the sky? It hurts. Okay, Kim doesn't care about your pain, right? I care why your pain. That's a good one. As far as the position of the hip, can anybody explain to me what we're doing with the right hip? Where is it going? Oh, that's good. So she says it's abducting. Okay, I'll take that. It's also rotating, isn't it? It's rotating out. I know it's weird because the whole body is twisted, but it's actually in an outward rotation. That's what we want. So people who have sciatica tend to really like this because we're taking the leg out, abducting, and outwardly rotating. Come on out, minutes up. We're going to do the other side. Start from scratch again. Feet, knees together, walk it out, heel toe. Left ankle to right knee. Twist through your lower back. Outwardly rotate through the left hip so your knee is pointing towards the sky. Look in the opposite direction of your twist. Oh, that was quite a release. In yoga, the wording that I would use in all of these twisting poses was kind of like wringing out a towel. Sometimes when you get really deep in some of these positions, and even if you hold a position, even if it's not difficult, holding a position for a while will help you get deeper into it. And there's a lot of stuff that might come up, especially for us ladies, because we have no problem just crying at the drop of a hat sometimes. But when emotions get created, molecules come along with that, right? There's all sorts of things like serotonin, dopamine, all these molecules get created. And sometimes if emotion, come on out, if an experience we have that's coupled with an emotion doesn't come to its crest and its fulfillment, it kind of gets stuck in the body. So if we don't come to closure with things, it gets stuck. And then you start getting deep into these poses and all of a sudden, an old experience we had starts coming back. You're like, why? Because there's molecules that get created and they do get stuck in the body. They can get trapped there. Certainly can. We're going to do upper spinal floor twist. A lot of twisties today. So again, this can be done sitting in a chair. So you could sit in a chair and twist. I see somebody type something. I'll be right there to answer it. But since we're doing it on the floor, you're going to hug the knees in towards the chest, like that 90-degree angle again. Knees, ankles stacked. Palms stack in front of you too. So I'm laying completely on my side. Completely on the side. Come on, Barbara. All the way up. There you go. Now you're going to take your right hand, my left hand, hold your knees, right, top arm opens like a book. So my right arm's opening like a book. I'm following it with my head if I can. If I can't, I'll just keep my head where it feels comfy. And we're letting the arm drop open in a twist. Breathing important here. I'm coming to answer that text. This is a holding move. This is not an in-out move. Somebody asked something on here. I see. Bring up the chat. What if you get a Charlie horse in your side when you're doing the leg? Oh, anybody out there can answer that one? Somebody got a cramp. Yeah, Denise goes, good for you. So you got a cramp on your side when you're doing the leg crossover move. So a lot of times when you guys get cramps while you're doing these exercises, I say good for you because welcome to muscles that don't work. If it's a cramp you always get, like it wakes you up when you're sleeping and you can't get rid of this cramp, well, then that's different. But if it's a new cramp to you while I'm taking you through these therapeutic moves, it's usually a good thing. So if you can just deal with it or come out, massage it a little bit, and then go back into it, guaranteed it will go away. But it's just going to pop out in there. We're switching sides now, everybody. So laying on the other side. I can get a little bit more technical with that as well. So let's get everybody into the upper spinal floor twist. I'm going to have you guys explain to me why in the last move, the hip crossover stretch, did she get a cramp in her hamstring? So the hip crossover stretch, why would she get a cramp in her hamstring in the back of her leg? Think about hip crossover stretch and what muscles we were trying to get to fire. And instead on her, what muscles are firing? Me and Marie were talking about it, getting outward rotation from that hip. What muscle's responsible for the outward rotation and a little abduction? Layman's terms, you don't have to give me any Latin stuff. In 30 seconds, we're going to go back into that move and we're going to help her answer that question, because you guys are going to go back into that move and you're going to tell me what's working and what should be working. Because I'm not going to be with you guys forever, but this will help you become your own therapists. Remember, this move is a hold move. Stop going in and out of it. I'm watching some of you do this open, close, open, close, open, close. It's not this move. If it hurts, then I get it. But if you're doing it because you're confused, this is a holding move. Come on out. We're going to go into hip crossover stretch so that you guys can understand what that move is supposed to do and why somebody said they were getting a Charlie horse in the back of their leg. So she was saying she got a Charlie horse right here, hamstring. So show me hip crossover stretch, what we just got into. Ankle goes to knee, and then we draw the knee away, right? We outwardly rotate. What muscle pulls the hip into outward rotation? The hip is a joint. What muscle? Put your hands on your body and feel. Your side, which side, where? Yes, yes. So as you feel your body, you go, what's doing this? What? No, this muscle's flabby. No, put your hands on your butt. So the butt is responsible for drawing this knee out. We're trying to get your butt to fire. But she had a hamstring cramping. Why? Right, they're all connected, but her specifically, hamstring is firing instead of her butt. So her butt's not working. So the hamstring is like, oh, I should do this. Oh, I can't do this. So that's why I like the cramps, because after her hamstring is done trying to do work it's not responsible for, it's going to give up.
The butt's going to kick in.
Yes, and the butt's going to kick in. That's what I keep saying. Oh, it hunts around. That's why we wait so long in some moves, to let the body do its hunting and let it finally isolate itself in the one spot that we're looking for. Fairly like layman's terms, right? You guys got it. Good. Okay, moving on. Yes, hip lift, hip lift. Now we're going to get some hip flexors to fire. So we're still sitting in the hook line position. Yes, this can be done in a chair. Gloria's done it in the chair in the past. It's harder in the chair. We're going to cross an ankle to a knee, but we're going to take the legs up off of the floor. This is not an easy move. We're going to hold it for a minute each side. So it's still the setup like it was before with the hip crossover stretch, except turning to the side so you can see. Now that I got this crossover, I'm going to pull my other leg towards me. Notice it looks like it's in the static back. Yes. So that knee pulls in. Same time, this knee draws away. So it's a push-pull while you hold for 1 minute. Yeah, that's right. Some people out there will not be able to do this. If you can't do this, maybe it'll look like this. Your foot's on the floor and you're kind of If people really can't do it, they might keep the foot on the floor and just keep working it from here, just using the position as their prep for it and just holding there until they can finally get here. You got 30 more seconds. Ankle is touching knee and you're pulling in. So it's the hip crossover stretch and then some. This is called hip lift. Even though the hips aren't lifting anywhere, we're trying to get lift through the left hip flexor. How many of you have your quadriceps on fire? The thighs, should they be? What's responsible for pulling your hip into flexion? Think again. Switch, think again. We just explained what your butt was responsible for. Left ankle to right knee, pull it up. What muscle responsible again for hip flexion? Remember, I said flexion. All the people that answered butt, I know you can look at me. Your butt muscle attached somewhere around here to somewhere around here. It cannot be responsible for doing this. If your butt's attached here, When it engages, it does this. It pulls back. So which direction are we pulling in? Right. Can it be the butt? No. How about that muscle I always refer to, the hip flexor? Would that be responsible for hip flexion? You guessed right. You guessed right. So we're looking for the iliopsoas here. But for a lot of us, when that iliopsoas won't kick on, it's a lot of thigh. It's a lot of thigh. And time. Come on out. And time. So it's a lot of thigh. Yeah, I know, but I did have it on. You could hear it going off. I wasn't lying. Yeah, that one's a toughie. That's a tough one. Okay, I'm going to have you guys stand up. We will get back down to the floor. We're going to do some standing exercises. I'd love to do some kneeling exercises, and then we'll do that workout. So we're standing up. Okay. Let's go for pigeon-toed standing just because. Good idea to trap yourself against a wall or a door when you do this. If you cannot go internal rotation, you can just stand with your feet straight ahead. Thighs are tight when I do this. That way my knees have no chance to, and I did that on purpose, no chance to bend and do something that looks like that. You lock them out so that all of this work can find its leverage right here. Then the spine starts to change. Then the head starts to change. That's what we're looking for. Usually this is a 4-minute long move. Not too bad. Perfect world, your big toes would touch. I don't care how the angle is, whatever you can get. You just want to get it as symmetrical as you can. How many of you feel like your feet might be cramping? Whoa. Your feet might be cramping. Yeah. I just got that.
I feel like my toes are grabbing.
Yeah. They shouldn't be. I feel that too because I haven't been doing my exercises. So yeah, my toes are trying to grab and hold the floor because this isn't really happy and it kind of shuts off to some point. And I'm trying to use the stickiness of the floor to hold me where the hip is like, that's all it's got. So if I were to turn in, that's all it's got. But I can use the floor and just go a little further and then lock my knees out. And it actually feels pretty good. So I'm going to keep doing it. And it does make my foot cramp. And I know my arches are falling. These are just things that I know about me. My arches are starting to fall because my hips aren't working. So I want that cramp. I want them to turn on a little bit. As long as you're not doing this, I'm okay with it. I don't mind your feet cramping. My body is now having a tendency to do this, and this knee is starting to bend. So I'm heading towards this. No joke. It's happening. I'm feeling it because my knees are bending and I'm working and I'm going, wow, I got a lot of bend in my knees. So this is starting to happen to me. So now as I do this move, my body wants to pitch my tailbone under, and this move is forcing it not to. So I'm like, whoa, whoa. So it's trying to find that balance. You guys might have the same thing. Yeah, go get some. I don't like touching the wall because it's all white, and I've gotten the. Oh. Yeah. Yes. Yes. If I can just handle it. You're right there, Gloria.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Yittle by yittle.
Yittle by yittle. What if you didn't internally rotate so hard and you went a little less, but tried to stand up a little bit straighter? Okay, because it looks like the more you try to do this, the more you're coming into flexion. This move shouldn't be doing that, but I think that's you're trying way too hard and you're ending up here. So don't try so hard, back it out a little bit and see if just holding this will help get your pelvis to come forward on its own. So the more you try to do this, the more you're ending up like this. One more minute. Sometimes it gets thrown in for 2 minutes. I've seen it in a few sequences for 2 minutes. But if it's more towards the beginning of a sequence, I've caught it for 4 minutes. I like doing this for 5 minutes in a, what is that darn thing? The slant board. And then add gluteal contractions into it because my butt, like your butts, is not working up to potential. 10 more seconds. But we don't have slant boards here, so I have to give you this. Okay, adding on, keep your feet in this position, legs in this position if you can. If you can't, then put your feet straight. We're going to place the hands on the lower back or on the butt, wherever you can make it. If you can get lower back, great. Now squeeze your elbows together. Good luck. Hold that there. Do not come to 90 degrees. We want to try and keep, yes, takes me away to where I'm going. You're going to keep the elbows squeezing together. But as we flex from the hips, I don't want you to lose that. So really pay attention to elbows staying back and just start to shift your hips behind you. Knees are staying straight. Only 45 degrees. I don't want 90 because once you come to that 90 degrees, you're going to start to kick on other muscles and you're going to start flexing from the spine. So just a bit here. Good luck. Notice I didn't flex from my spine. I gave you guys the cue on purpose. Send your butt back. That way this flexion comes from the hip. Elbows still squeezing together? I hope so. Time, come on out. Walk around if you have to, you can come out of that. So we were in that for a good 5 minutes. Feel a little noodly? Me too. It was good, it was good. Very good. Let's do one more in the standing. We're going to do overhead extension. It's another minute-long move. Now march in place for a second and then just stop and take a look down at your feet. A little straighter than normal, right? How many of you have been checking over the past weeks and you look down every now and then and go, oh, wow, look at that. All right, good. We're going to do overhead extension. Feet are straight ahead in this one, so they're right underneath your hips. You're going to interlace your hands, your fingers, push your palms away. This one's tough for those of you who have shoulder issues. You're going to keep the elbows straight. Only move through the shoulders. You're going to hit a point where the shoulder is probably going to go, I don't want to do this anymore. And you're going to end up doing this. That's not a shoulder move. So I want you to really pay attention to that. Lift from the shoulder as high as you can go, and we're going to hold for 1 minute. If that sucks for you and you can't do that and your elbows are bent or something, go ahead and do some shoulder rolls or just pick your nose or something for a minute. You can do it. I used to cue looking up at the hands, but there's a tendency when you do that to start leaning back and letting the hips bail forward. There is that tendency. You can do it, but I don't want the hips to come forward. So now we did all this crap to realign the hips and get it underneath your shoulders, all that. So now we just want to retrain the shoulders how to come into extension now that the hips are a little bit more balanced. We are going to hit the floor again after this, and we're going to do some stuff with the strap and the block. I'm thinking double-double, double-double switch with the lift, all that good stuff. Come on out. Okay, bring one block, bring one strap. We're coming back into the on the floor position, the hook lying. Prep your strap. It's not already. We are going to go block between knees and strap around ankles. How's that alignment? It goes hip distance. That's how it is. Hip distance. It's usually the answer for all of these moves, unless I say otherwise. If it's a wide stance, I'll let you know. It's usually hip distance. All right. So my block is between my knees, or my pillow is between my knees. My strap is around my ankles. We haven't touched this in a long time. I'm starting to feel this foot. Something wants to cramp on my left side here. So I know this is helpful. I haven't touched this in the longest time. So this is good for me. Feet stay parallel. There is a tendency for them to evert, especially when we're applying pressure on the strap. I'm going to try to go for the simultaneous motion of knees going in on the block and the ankles pressing out on the strap. There should be no movement, but instead there's an activation of the muscles. So you turn it on and turn it off. Turn it on, turn it off. Feet stay parallel. There's a good cue that I learned from one of the therapists, and that is think about your feet on ice. So you want them to have this kind of gliding feel going on. That way that makes all of this work happen in your hips. This shouldn't be the ankles moving to get it done. This is hip work. Yes, ma'am. This is a repetitive motion. This is not a turn on and hold on. This is repetitive over and over. You turn it on and release. Everybody okay out there with their straps? Straps should not be sliding or letting loose. If they are, tie yourself a square knot or a thief's knot or just something. Get her done. And then watch a darn YouTube video to figure out these straps so that at least the last class, you finally know how to work a belt. I do have a tendency to overwork in these moves. I love to just push hard, hard, hard. And I realize after I hit my 60, that the one side is still working harder than the other because I'm trying too hard. So if you're noticing that one side is a little bit harder than the other, dial back your effort so the other side can catch up. It might even be a question of how close your heels are to your butt or not. A lot of people who do yoga have a tendency to bring the heels so close to their butt when they're in this position because they're trying to prep for Chandrasana, where they lift up. That's not how I want you guys here. When we take the hook line position, I'd like your feet, your heels, to be as far away from your butt as they are when you're in static back. So you can take it from static back position and try to keep that 90-degree angle and just place the feet on the floor. That's usually the correct position for your legs. Not too far away, not too close to your butt. And you might notice, oh, that changed the muscles that I recruit just for a few inches. So that's why sometimes my cue is just a few inches. And there's a reason for that, because we're trying to recruit certain muscles and not others. Where should I be feeling this movement or this activation? I heard, oh, where should I be feeling this? Good, good. Right. Why does she feel it in her calf? Should this be a hip-based movement? Great answer to all of these questions is yes and yes. A lot of these movements are hip-based because we want to get back to hip function. All of our hips have been losing function, which is why she feels it in her calf instead of the hip. So the hip should be doing that work. So groin is where you should be feeling this.
I do feel it there. My head outside of the
Right.
fire.
Yeah, they're trying. My left one is trying to fire. And when I do this one at home, when I do my exercises, I keep doing it until I finally feel it only in my groin. So I'll be laying there for the longest time. And my left calf will be on fire, and then it finally stops, and then it starts moving into the groin. It might take a while. If everybody's okay, we're going to add the lift to this. When you add the lift, you're going to apply the pressure, hold it, and then pick up just 2 inches off the floor. I don't want your knees coming to your chest. Just pick it up off the floor and then back down 2 to 6 inches. So the knees go in, ankles push out, lift, lower. If that sucks for you, don't do it. Lift, lower. Just a bit. Do you release? Yeah, I'm watching what you're doing. Yeah, so as soon as her feet hit the ground, it's relax time. And we want this to be a repetitive motion, which means turn it on, take a break. Turn it on, take a break. Feet should not be everting here. I don't see anybody's feet everting. They're staying parallel. But if the feet, here, check this out. Go ahead and evert your feet when you do this. Go ahead and turn the feet out and hold it up there. Does everybody feel how their calves turn on? Right? So that helps us explain to Denise what should be doing its work and what isn't. So when you feel that calf go on, that's the ankle trying to do this work for a hip that's not. The hip should be pushing in. The hip should be dictating ankle go out, but the ankle should not be moving. When the ankle's trying to do the movement, it's recruiting the calf muscles in order to do so. Oh, everybody feel some cramping somewhere? I hope so. You feel it in the hip? In that area? Okay, so you're feeling thighs. How much is 2 inches, Lynn? Right. Who have you been dating? She got it. Couple more lifts. Left and lower. Left and lower. This is a tough one to get, to just ask the hip to take the ankles out and relax. But if you think about it, I'm going to take all this stuff off of me. So really what we're asking to happen here is this. We're doing that move that you guys love so much, the wishbone, except we're trapping the body so it can't come into that position. And all that should be done from the muscles that surround the hips here, especially that secondary hip flexor, that TFL right there. Does everybody feel that when we were doing the work? So that's responsible to help internal rotation. We're going to take it in the other direction. Block ankles, strap knees. So if all that was going on, hip flexor, secondary hip flexor, groin, all of that to go in, to adduct, to hold, where do you think you want to feel it when we're switching it? I don't think these are hard questions. You're sleeping? I didn't think these were hard questions. Man, the thighs? Let me just use language. Internal rotation. Adduction. What were we talking about when we were doing hip crossover stretch and the position of the hip and who was cramping and what we're supposed to be working? Which direction were we going with hip crossover stretch? Out. External rotation, abduction. And where were we feeling it? Right. So now that we do this move, that is the opposite of internal rotation, the opposite of adduction, where should we feel it? Go. Which direction are we asking our hips to go in right now if we didn't have a strap holding them in place?
Definitely not out.
What? If I took a scissor and cut your strap,
It would go out.
it would go, so definitely not out or out?
Out.
Out, right. Outward rotation. So what muscle is responsible for that? It's certainly not the groin and the crotch and the hip flexor and all that, is it? It's the other side. How do you know it's the butt? Yay! That's why I waited so long and I didn't give you the answer. So we're not going to do the lift just yet. The lift is still going to involve that hip flexor because that's all we can involve to get that sucker up there. But we're going to try and turn the butt on now. For the longest time, for years, I had this strap just a little bit too tight, a little bit, because I kept doing it via the fist and the two fist method. And some therapists pointed out, you know, loosen the strap a half an inch. And I did. And all of a sudden my butt turned on in a new way. So you might want to check that out. We're trying to recruit the butt. So if you have a hard time getting your butt recruited here, your strap might be too tight. So if we squeeze in on a block and you feel that in the crotch, hip flexor, groin area, then what is your butt muscle, which you're feeling right now, responsible for? I'm getting tough with these. What direction is it responsible for? Out. Outward rotation. What else? Abduction or adduction? One of you knows it. Stop rolling your ankles. Ankles stay put. Do not move through your ankles. Block should not be in between your ankles. It should be in between your feet. If you get that block in between your feet and your ankle, it's big enough to do ankles, feet, toe, all of it. If you got it down there, long ways, matching your feet, you're not going to get the chance to do that ankle roll that I'm seeing from some of you. Your feet should stay put. Ready to add the lift? So apply the pressure. Lift up and lower. Lift up and lower. About 2 to 6 inches. Same idea as the last time. Turn it on, turn it off. Turn it on, turn it off. Because if you come further and you go slow enough, you'll actually feel the muscles as they start shifting and adding other muscles to do the work and fulfill the motion. So go ahead and pick up 2 to 6 inches. Feel where it is, hold it. You'll be able to feel it and go, whoa, there it is. Now go ahead and pull your knees even closer to your chest. You feel those muscles kind of turn off in a way and other muscles turn on. Maybe your abdominals start to turn on as you start to come into flexion of the torso. So that's why I don't want you to go that high. We want to turn on the hip flexors, which are shut down for the most part for a lot of us, weak for others, or just kind of losing their rhythm for a few of us. I'm going to try and turn that rhythm on and off. The rhythm of the night. We are the rhythm nation. How high is 2 to 6 inches, Gloria? Right? Throw your block at her because I can't make it all the way over there. You're killing it over there, Gloria. You're killing me. She likes the burn. She likes it. All right. I can't fault her for that. Come on out, everybody. Give me a cats and dogs. We're going to hit this workout here. A lot of what we did is already implemented in this workout, just in in a harder way. So I'm going to skip some of them. And we're just going to hit the workout from the middle on. Cats and dogs. Yeah, they're great, aren't they? If you stood up now, you'd probably feel a little different. Those exercises I showed you with the strap and the block, those work really well for one of my clients who's a dentist. So she's like this all day long, all day long. Cats and dogs. See what we could squeeze out of this because Kim talks too much. But those exercises are real important. When you're done with your cats and dogs, I want you to stand up and check it out to see how you feel. And then we're going to do inchworm. Inchworm is not a move for everybody. If inchworm is not going to work out for you, you're just going to stand pigeon-toed. Because I watched everybody do that already. Inchworm is a move where you go from stand, we're going to walk it out, downward dog, cobra, and back. It's a funky move. It can be done. Don't give up without trying it. But if something doesn't feel right, don't do it. Just stand there with your legs pigeon-toed. So I come here, knees are straight. I am walking it out. Drop the hips. Come into extension, shoulders back if you can. Hiking it up, walk the legs. Notice I'm keeping my knees straight. That's going to help force the hips to do some work. And then I'm going to go backwards. Come on down, place the hands, walk it back, drop. 1 minute, go for it. Don't care how you get it done, get it done. Try your best to keep the knees straight. It's up, down. And time. Beautiful. Everybody get a drink of water? Inchworm's fun. Flutter kicks. Either do them on the chair, do them on the floor. Let's go for 50 because I want to make sure we get through this. I don't care where you do them, chair, floor, don't matter to me. Every 10, I change the position of my ankles from dorsiflexion to plantar flexion. Do not bend your knees. This is very hard for some of you. If you have to bend your knees, maybe you want to put one foot on the floor and just lift one leg over and over with the knee straight. I am going for 50. We did all that hip flexor work. It better be on now. Stop bending knees, Lynn. Suck it up. Lock them out. That's it. That's it. Stop bending those knees. Don't think fast. Just think fluid. Back up again. Back up. Dorsiflex. Pick them up. Think fluid rather than fast. Because she's thinking fast and she's ending up doing this and bending from the knees. Because she's thinking fast, 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 fast. And she's losing it. Beautiful. Just 50. Just 50. Beautiful, Paula. I love it. Time. Flutter kicks done. One arm switch next. This one is so much fun. It is a hands and kind of knees move. It's a twisty one. Opposite arm, opposite leg. If you just think, pull the knee in towards my chest, your body's going to drop already. It wants to go in that direction. It looks weird. Knock it off. It looks weird. But if you just pull the knee in towards the chest, you're going to notice the body's going to want to go. So go with it. It's a one-arm switch. And then you could take the other leg, go under, or go back the way you came. I don't care. But it's just new. And it's this cross pattern that we need to do. Want to get it done on a chair? Okay, I'll take it. Whoops, there's nothing there to hold on to, but it's good enough for me. Okay, good enough. I'll take it. Give it a try. I don't want to see anybody out there doing nothing. So do something. Hands and knees. Pull one knee in towards your chest and notice, whoop, the body wants to lean onto that side. So just go with it slowly. Even if you end up sitting on your butt, big whoop-de-doo. 1 minute. 1 minute. Worst that can happen, you end up sitting on your butt. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's not a big deal. Once you get the pattern, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Right? You got it. It's an arm leg opposite, really. Sure. So one knee comes into your chest and you're leaning on that arm. Boop. And then back in, because you'll never hit the chair because it's not there for you. Yeah, it's not, the chair isn't going to be there for you. So you pull it in. Okay, that's as far as you could go. Okay, but you're getting the pattern. Knee into your chest first. That's where we're missing it. Knee into the chest. Time. There, at least you guys started. At least you guys start. Good. Enough. Good. Did something new, something different. We got 2 minutes of class left. Oh, boo-hoo. Blah. Finish out with arm circles or something similar. Gonna do a bilateral move. You guys pick. You want to do an air bench? Do an air bench. Want to do cats and dogs? Do cats and dogs. I'm gonna do arm circles. Remember, if you're doing arm circles, modified golf grip. Belly stays relaxed. Feet, look down at them. If you're standing doing them, where should your feet be? Hip on the floor and straight. Straight. I'm looking at some of you, your left foot's turned all the way off to the side. What's up with that? Marsha, look at your feet. Oh, now you can start. Palms up. Much better. Good, Paula. Relax the belly. Relax the belly. That's all she wrote for today, guys. I did skip our knee exercises, but we don't have a whole lot of time. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. I'll catch you guys next week. You're welcome.